First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you very much for joining us. We're live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We're here every weekday starting at 1 o'clock and going throughout the afternoon. I like to remind everybody of that in case this is your first time watching. If there's breaking news, we have that here as well. We also get to have longer form conversations about a wide range of things. Today, we are talking about K-trucks. Now, in case you're not sure what a K-truck is, I'm going to pull up just a quick example here of what one could be. And that's what we're looking at. You may have seen something like this, whether in person or online, something like that. These smaller pickup truck style vehicles, generally speaking, is what they fall under. And these are really popular in Japan, Korea, and other places around the world. Here in Oregon, they are not currently legal to have on the road. So we're going to talk about these and some potential legislation to make them legal and to bring that forward. And joining us right now to talk about that, we have Oregon Representative Alek Skarlatos. Alek, thank you very much for being here. Representative, I want to go through this and just talk about the legislation, the potentials for this. But I think to start off, could you just tell us maybe a little bit about yourself and what your interest in K-trucks really stems from?
My interest in K-trucks really stems from my younger brother, who actually has a couple. I actually heard about Senator Broadman trying to introduce a bill on K-trucks last long session, and we started discussing the issue. And the real crux of it is that they're legal in Washington state, but not legal here. So what a lot of people end up doing is they just plate them in Washington state. Washington state sees that revenue, and then they still drive them in places like California, Oregon, just with Washington plates. So we're trying to end that and see some of that revenue brought to Oregon, since they're driving them here anyway, frankly.
Interesting. So if you have Washington plates with one of these vehicles, it is legal for you to drive those on the roads in Oregon?
Probably not technically. Since you're an Oregon resident, you should have Oregon plates. But Oregon residents are allowed to plate vehicles in Washington. And so that's what they're doing. It's kind of a loophole to get around the law.
Gotcha. And what are some of the concerns as far as why Oregon doesn't have this legal to begin with?
That's a great question. I have no idea why, to be honest with you. I think they should be. There might be some safety concerns or things like that. But of course, we have motorcycles that are legal here. K-trucks are legal in other states. So I think they absolutely should be legal here. And frankly, it's a really good alternative for a lot of other more expensive modes of transportation. For one, K-trucks I could imagine being very popular on farms, ranches, orchards, things like that, because they're very utilitarian. And they usually run about a quarter of the price of something like a side-by-side that I use on my ranch that's over $20,000.
So it could save a lot of money then when we're talking about that from the business side. So is that where you're seeing a lot of those advantages, are the utilitarian, I guess, use case for these K-trucks?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure some people would like to use them just as a mode of transportation. They have a very large bed for the size of the vehicle. So I imagine most of them are going to be utilitarian use. I think Senator Broadman's example was he had a friend in Bend who wanted to transport kegs of beer at his, restaurant or brewery from the street down a back alley to the back door of his restaurant, instead of unloading it on the street and through the front of the store. And again, it's just little practical use cases like that all across the state where people want to be able to use these things, and they unfortunately can't, or they can. They're just giving Washington state the tax revenue instead of us. And
so I guess what are the steps to legalize this? So essentially, this legislation, and to clarify this, I guess first, this legislation would make it legal to register them in the state of Oregon.
Correct. You'd be able to plate them here and everything else. And I think we're going to have a committee hearing this week. I can follow up with you on the details if anyone wants to come testify in favor of this. If you're opposed, it's 2 weeks from now. So.
Have you heard much opposition to this legislation, or if you have, what have they been saying?
I actually haven't heard any opposition yet. Frankly, I think the only opposition might come from the agency. A lot of time agencies are opposed to certain pieces of legislation, frankly, because they don't want to do the work, or they want more money to do the work. So we'll see what happens there dealing with the agency. But as long as they're not opposed, or there's not a giant fiscal asking for more money, I don't see a problem with this. It's right now the bill has bipartisan, bicameral support. We have a Democrat senator, 2 Republican House reps co-chiefing the bill, and a lot of other co-sponsors. So I think assuming it gets a hearing, which it will, it'll have legs.
And just talking about that, as far as the cost, do you have any kind of an estimate on what it would cost to add K-trucks onto the registration list for the state of Oregon, and on the other side, any potential numbers on income or revenue that could bring in?
I don't. That's for the Legislative Fiscal Office to determine, unfortunately. But yeah, the whole reason we're trying to pass this bill is to bring in revenue to the state of Oregon that is currently going to Washington state. So even though it might cost a little bit of money up front, it should bring in significantly more money than it costs, or else we wouldn't, frankly, register all the other vehicles that we drive in the state.
Would this be something that could lead to like dealerships, or how would someone even actually acquire a K-truck should it be legal to register one in Oregon?
So right now you have to buy them from someone that imports them from overseas. They're made in typically Japan. They're usually like 660 cc engines, so smaller engines usually can't even get above like 70 miles an hour on them. And so they have to come in overseas from Japan through an importer, through a port like Tacoma or something like that, or Portland even. And then you can pick them up and register them. And so you have to go through an importer. I imagine if this becomes legal, there'll probably be some smaller dealerships that pop up that deal with these. But right now it's still very much a niche issue. But I'm a pro-freedom kind of guy. I think that you should be able to drive whatever you want to drive. If you can buy it, and the state shouldn't be able to tell you no for any esoteric reason.
Anything else that you think is important for people to know just about the legislation or K-trucks in general?
Hopefully it'll pass and it's going to be great and you should buy one.
If it does pass, how long will that take before, or do you have an estimate on that, on how long it would take before you
off
do
the top of my head, I'll have to check. Usually it's within a couple months after the governor signs it. This doesn't have an emergency clause, so it's not going to go into effect right away. So it's usually a couple months or the following January after the bill is signed. I think this one might be July, but don't quote me on that.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, Representative, thank you very much for joining us, to talk about this and get this information out there for people. So we'll follow along. And you said, just to clarify this too, you said you're waiting to see if it'll get a hearing. When will you know if that's going to be the case?
We have a committee hearing this week.
Okay.
I was partially joking. So if the people are opposed to the bill, they show up in 2 or 3 weeks from now after the committee hearing is already passed. So, but no, it's got a hearing this week. I'll get back to you on the date. I want to say it's Wednesday. I'll have to double check.
Okay, that's fair. And then, so it'll go through that process, and then if it passes that, then it goes to the vote.
Yes, it'll go past committee, go to the floor, pass the floor, and then go over to the Senate to pass as well. But again, we have a senator championing it over there, so hopefully it'll go through the Senate and then to the governor for signature.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having time to talk to us. I know it's a very busy time for all of you down there with all the various things that are going on with this legislature, but, good to know about what's happening there with the K-trucks and that potential legislation. So thanks so much for joining us here on Fox 12 Now.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
You too. Everybody watching, again, we are live streaming here. We're going to go ahead and sign off for now, but if there's breaking news that happens between now and 4 p.m., I will be back for you with that as well. And this is the show where we get to have these longer form discussions, a little bit more in-depth, learning about things like K-trucks. So let us know what you think. You can send me an email, fox12now@kptv.com. If you have an idea for a segment or maybe something that you want to see a deeper dive on, you've seen a story on one of our other news shows, and you're like, hey, I wish I could hear more from that reporter about that story. Well, that's something that we can do here on this show. Just send me a message, fox12now@kptv.com, and we'll see what we can do to make that happen. So, all right, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you soon with more. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.